Hey guys, so I'm doing a little something different today. I'm about to pack up and roll out to the Lonestar Paragliding Championship? I don't know, whatever. It's a paragliding competition in Hearne, Texas that's put on by Dave Prentice, aka Cuervo. A really good dude. I've done all my SIVs with this guy. He's just a flyer, man. He flies. That's what his daily gig is. Flying, hunting, teaching. Competition should be fun. The weather looks good for it. It's gonna be blazing hot. Bringing the old paracamper with the air conditioner and the generator. Hopefully that all works. And oh Jesus, colony of red wasps. Oh, those bastards hurt when they sting you. Don't want anything to do with those ugly boogers. So it looks like I got some exterminating to do also. Oh, gee, they're all lined up looking at me now. I'm not gonna be able to use this door. I better go around. It's better to kill those things at night. They all light up on the nest there at nighttime, and you could just whack them all at once. If I killed them now, there would be like 10 more that were out somewhere getting food or something. It's about a 5-hour drive. This is the closest paragliding competition that occurs near me. It's my first time, and I'm gonna kind of make a video as far as like a first-timer paraglider guy's perspective on competition flying. They say you learn more to competition than you do, like you learn more in a competition than you can get in a whole year by yourself. So because it's been mentioned by numerous experienced pilots that you learn so much, that I want to use it as a learning opportunity. I'm gonna pack up and hit the road. See you guys in Hearne. You know, it just never fails that when I'm driving to or from a free flight event or destination, it always looks like such a wonderful day for free flying. The days are always best when I'm traveling to and from. It looks like, at least visually anyway, it just looked like a banging day, a huge day across Texas today. I guess today was the practice day. Tomorrow's the full day, but chores, man, chores. Had to skip practice. So I made it to the Lonestar Paragliding Championship. This is Hearne Municipal Airport, and weird shenanigans going on here today. They've got FEMA trailers stacked to the wazoo. There's like federal security guards everywhere. Like I didn't know last night. I was roaming around, dude whistled at me. He was like, can't go back there, that's FEMA. So I guess they got the FEMA trailers. There's Mark in Cuervo's van. I had to get my UDI updated and get my waypoints on there. Thanks, Rob, for that. Of course, right when I got here, my door handle broke. I need to fix that. With my friend Tim again. Hadn't seen him since Kansas. You all right, Tim?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Each morning started with a pilot briefing. You talked about the task and the waypoints that you might have to go by, any sort of safety issues, basically anything that needed to be discussed. The task is 53 miles to a town called Mejia. First time to load a task. Should be fun. During the pilot briefing, they give you a launch time, a launch window actually, from say 11 to 3 o'clock. It varied on each day and based on weather. Get out to the field and you get ready, and whenever the launch window opens, you can go. Now, sometimes there's a launch window and a start window, and they may be different. This day, everybody was bombing. Hearne is right in the middle of a danged old blue hole, a sinkhole. There's not much lift, man. Barely anybody is getting up and out of here. People are bombing over and over again. A couple guys got out and got some miles, but I ain't fighting it today. I got points. I did do a flight, but look at this blue hole. Clouds are all the way around us.
Did Prentice go up yet?
Yeah, he bombed a couple, and then he lit out that way. I don't know if he got any, he was kind of coming down, but it ain't worth my effort. Late in the day, Josiah Sewell gave it one more attempt, and he was able to connect and made it to goal. I think we had both given up at the same time, and he said, no, one more try. There's me giving up, heading home on my unicycle. So it was beer drinking and video making for the rest of the day for Kylo. It was fun though. I actually enjoyed that day. The last cowboy. I think everybody else is bailing. So let's recount today's flight. We had a task like 53 miles away. Apparently the winds decided to shift about 45 degrees away. I don't even know if anybody made it to goal or not. My flight was probably one of the worst ones I've ever had. Started out, all my checks were, gear was good. Went to initiate the tow and the line was wrapped around my foot. So it about snatched my feet out from under me, but I salvaged that. I went up on tow, and the tow machine was bouncing me so hard I could barely fly the glider. It was just like a bucking bull. I don't know if it was the machine or the weather combo, but it was pretty terrible. I was so happy to get off of that line. Got off the line, that was probably the best part of the flight. I scratched around in some weak lift. It was broken, wasn't very strong. The winds were strong, but the lift was just, we're just in this sucker hole. We're in this blue hole, and it was not good. So I loitered and loitered and loitered, and at one point I realized that I wasn't gonna make it back to the airport. So I picked a real good spot next to the road, and as I was coming down, I had to hit full speed bar to make it over some power lines. Then I took a 40% asymmetric collapse, and the collapse cravatted, so it wasn't a terrible cravat, it was just a tip, but I was trying to get that undone, and I was losing altitude. I knew at that point I was not gonna make it over the power lines. So I got the wings sorted with about 100 feet left to go, and I had to land in like the edge of a cornfield, pack up in the, what do you call it, the stobs. It was a stob field. So I had to pack my glider up my stob field, which is, if you've never done that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then I had to walk out of this stupid thing. It was about 100 degrees, felt like 1,000. This is the middle of Texas in the middle of August. It sucks. But I had water, everything was pretty much fine. I got a ride pretty quick. I only made it a couple of miles away from the airport. Hopefully I got all the bad stuff out of the way, and I can have good flights from here on out. The beer's cold and delicious, so that's a plus. So that's that. Post-flight debrief. Cheers, bitches. Mornings were basically the only free time you had, so if guys needed some practice towing, they could do tows if they were in the comp, or they could sleep in, ride their skateboards and play with the dogs. There were lots of activities. Tandem action, gearing up for the day. It was the morning routine. Yo, Morgan in the house. About it.
Hey.
They requisitioned my truck for a additional tow rig. The hooligan convention. A lot of experience on this tailgate. Yeah. Let me tell you. And this is Kyle the dog, often confused with me.
We're not judging.
Day 2 of the Lone Star. Yesterday was a difficult day, but today looks like it may be a little better. I've got a new strategy to not land and walk through the 100-degree Texas weather. That was my conclusion from yesterday, was I was just so wiped from having to do that hike that I didn't feel like doing anything else. So today, if I catch myself bombing, I'm gonna land back at the airport and get a retow. Just keep retowing until I can connect. And then if I bail out or bomb out, it'll have to be on down the road somewhere. It's just gonna be a good day today. Let's check it out. Conditions on day 2 were far better than day 1. We had cloud streets stretching to the distance. There was abundant lift all around the airport. The tow machines were just banging off one after another. I don't know how Josiah bombed out this day, but it looks like he did. He ended up getting up and making it past goal. We'll tell you more about that in a minute. This was the tow and the disconnect. This is my GPS data that we put in a site called Duorama. This is my second glide. I was just feeling around for a thermal. I wanted to show you what that looked like on GPS. And then when I connected, I got up. I've got the airport made. It's up ahead in the distance. I've been flying for 4 hours and 20 minutes. Covered 85 miles across Texas. Almost had a head-on collision with a big C-130 Hercules. That was intense. This is the face I make when I almost crash into a big airplane. I turned on my blinky lights and they maneuvered when they saw me. That was intense. But anyway, let me get in here and land. I thought it'd be interesting to look at just how big of a track this was from outer space. That's the Gulf of Mexico you saw there to the left. And this is the path that I made in the sky with just a paraglider and a harness. It just trips me out. And this is the field I landed in. A guy thought I was pitching a tent in his backyard, and he come out all concerned about, can I help you? But that was him. He was a good guy, though. He gave me a glass of tea. The retrieve rides were quite a bit more fun than I imagined. There's Walter, yesterday's winner. How about it, sir?
Yeah, very good. My best flight ever.
Nice! And when I mentioned Josiah went past goal, he went past goal. Shame on him, apparently. Today was a big day for me. I sent my first hard cross country. 85 miles, 4.5 hours. A lot of work too. It was a real strong day. And I made it to goal. Whew, it's late. I drank a bit on the way back. Thank you, Olivia, for the ride. I think there's talk of a 100-miler tomorrow. That's the skinny of it, y'all. 85 miles, new personal best for Kylo. I'm proud, man. I stuck the day together. Got up on my first toe. Toe was better. I connected with a thermal and rode it all the way to the top. I'm at 4,000 feet and a C-130 Hercules levels out, coming right at me, and the gap is closing quick. These things are big. That scared me. I know what to do. I reached up and I turned my strobe light on my helmet. Pretty intense, man. That was a bit spooky. But I made it out of that. So I'm back home. Good night. You want to know what a big day looks like? This is what a big day looks like. Cloud streets stretching into the distance, wind blazing along. I knew it was going to be good from the get-go. Good morning from day 3 of the Lonestar Paragliding Championship. Tandem action out here on the launch pad this morning. Who all went fine? Is it good?
Beautiful. Thermals are already kicking.
I know. I saw that. Was that your first time?
Yes.
What'd you think? Yeah?
Loved it.
Isn't it intense? Yeah. Nice. Mr. Neal is consistently getting the best toes of the crew. You're in good hands. Mark's a consummate professional. Seen this guy do amazing things in the sky. No worries.
It has nothing to do with it.
No?
She knows I'm afraid of heights.
You're afraid of heights?
You're gonna get overexcited?
Just a little bit.
Still not nervous?
I'm not nervous. I'm gonna do this.
Cool. You ready to go?
Uh-huh.
Cool. We're gonna wait for a little bit of wind and run. Keep running.
Nice. Pilot briefing.
Josiah won't fly past Gold Sewell. Kylo Lee.
Yeah.
Matt Ingram. Anything out on the launch line or safety issues yesterday? I thought it was pretty reasonable conditions. I got away with one toe. How many people took more than one toe?
When I talk about connecting, I want to show you this. This was my toe. As soon as I disconnected, I was in a thermal and I just immediately started turning and climbing out. And what I didn't know was this going to be like one of the most epic flights of my life. It was just straight rocket ship up, man. I rode the thermal. Where did I top out? The altitude about 4,300 feet. So I want to relive this part of the flight with you. I had to cross this lake, and there's no lift over a lake because they don't generate thermals. So I got in with some birds and I started climbing, and I transitioned into this 1,100 or 1,200 foot straight line climb. Look at this. I'm going up over 1,000 feet at probably about 1,000 feet a minute, and it launched me over this lake, and I was able to connect with some thermals on the other side. So memorable. It was so exciting. Such a ride. Like the biggest roller coaster you could imagine, catapulting you across the sky. And then I fast forwarded the rest of the flight all the way to goal. 103 miles I did on this paraglider. And again, I backed out to look at outer space. That's the Gulf of Mexico. That's how far I flew on this thing. Here's the flight stats if you're interested. Freaking amazing. I guess a good part about somebody beating you to goal is they get to video your approach and landing. So thanks, Josiah, for that one, bud. Appreciate it. So I'm at goal in Athens, Texas. 100 miles on the paragliders. Me and Mr. Josiah there. Apparently the only two that made it. There's one guy that landed, he made goal, but he landed like a few miles out, Matt. But anyway, cheers. 100 miles. We already had gold pizza. Domino's delivers here apparently. Beer stop.
Right.
We're thirsty. We deserve a brew. Let's get some. Post-flight debrief. So how did it start? It started with the weather forecast. It was looking big today. big weather, big thermals. Long distances had a good stiff wind that was roughly the same direction at all altitudes. It was all headed to the northwest. I don't even, man, I've been flying so much, and you'll know why when I explain this story here in a second. That my mind is basically burnt from just constant flying. Wow, I did 100 miles today. 100 miles on a paraglider with no motor. And that's apparently like an elite feat. This year is the longest task that's been tasked to paragliders, and only 3 of us made it, and I was one of them. Yeah, I mean, I feel great. I just did all the right moves, I guess. I think that's the difference. I made a few mistakes. I, cut across some holes and scratched around in some lift that if I hadn't, I could. In fact, Josiah, I took off before him. He made it there before me. His flight took 30 minutes less than mine did, but mine was 5 hours. I flew for 5 hours, 100 miles across Texas today. Most of it is just kind of the same old stuff, and there's a reason that I don't video these things. It's hard to do. It's a lot of work. I never let go of the controls until probably an hour or 2 in, and I had to stop and take a drink, but I was constantly flying the glider. The air was big, it was moving. If you just let go of it, shit will fold you in a knot. And sometimes it'll do that even when you're holding on to it. You really can't just stop unless you catch yourself on a glide where you're not in the turbulence and you're not in the lift and it's not too sinky. You can take a drink of water, shove a snack in your mouth. I guess I took a couple of pictures. They'll probably show up in this video. I rode the first thermal I connected to cloud base, got on bar. I was under kind of a street. It was street, and I got under one of those streets and was just sort of porpoising along, a little up, little down, but I was going towards the first turn point. I hit a boomer. I hit 1,000 feet up. And I was getting sucked into a cloud. I was getting too close to be legal. So I hit full bar. I pushed my speed bar all the way down. I was still going 1,000 feet up a minute. This video was screaming, ride of my life. And then all of a sudden, boom. Full frontal, lost the entire glider. I popped out of that thermal and I was moving up so fast that the air just whacked it. I hadn't been on bar, it wouldn't have been. It was my fault, it was a mistake, but I probably would have got sucked in the cloud if I hadn't been on full bar. I was just riding it and I pushed it a little far and I took a big whack. It was over in a second, and frontals are pretty easy. They sound crazy. It's the asymmetrics that are really bad because they could throw you into like a spinny thing. If the whole glider breaks over, it's just a uniform, you just fall, boom, glider opens up and you're flying. It takes 10 feet in a second. So that happened and that kind of rattled me a little. It was kind of like, I think I giggled actually. I connected, man. I'd ride the thermals and I would glide and I found some good lines. I had to cross 2 big lakes. They were right on the course line and you either had to go left, right, or center them. Dude, I don't know how many connections I did. When I say connection, I mean I thermaled up and got high and then I glided and then that's a connection, and I connected again, boom, come up, glided, and I did that for 5 hours. I made 100 miles. My last thermal that I tanked up on before I made my final glide, it was booming, man. It was booming. The day was exploding. I probably could have gone another 50 miles if I hadn't had a goal that I had to meet. I learned a lot about how my glider flies today, flying it in the trashy air. Now, inside the thermals were good, and in between the thermals were good, where the glides are. There was some ratty air in between there. I got in some trash. Some people said they didn't, but I did. He does the comp here because of these conditions. You can get those type distances. A lot of fun. I had a good time. As much flying as I do, I've never actually checked myself to see what I could do. Today was that day, man. I did all right, I guess. I guess once you learn how to fly, you don't really have to chalk up numbers to be a good pilot, maybe. But I like the competition. I was by myself the whole time. And when I saw Josiah, he was landing. I was on approach and he was landing. So he beat me to there. We don't know at what point he passed me, so we're curious. Both of us are curious about that. Man, we sent it hard today, and I think we're going to send it hard again tomorrow. I just wanted to do a proper post-flight debrief and kind of talk myself through it. That's the size of it. I'm one of the 100-mile guys now. And there's some guys here that were trying to get their 100-milers today, and they couldn't do it. This is where you send it big right here. The sky was screaming today. I've never been in, the sky was just like on the verge of overdeveloping. That was great. It was just great. Everything came together nicely, man. Everything was good. Well, hey, y'all, I gotta go get some rest. Much love. Gal out. All right, y'all, it's running a little bit long here, so I'm gonna cut the video off here. Let me know what you think about the format with the animations and all the the story time that I've got going on. Fortunately, that's the majority of the video. Give me some feedback on that before I start on part 2. Let me know what you think, and the next video should be the conclusion of the competition. You'll find out how everyone did and what it was like. So, much love, guys. Kyle out.